You may have heard there are multiple legal cases underway alleging social media platforms like Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Snap are designed to be addictive and can be harmful to minors. So what do you need to know about the dangers? Our guest, Jonathan Haidt, is the co-author of a new book written specifically for young readers called The Amazing Generation, Your Guide to Fun and Freedom in a Screen-Filled World. He's also a social psychologist who studies the effects of smartphones and social media on development. Jonathan, good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so you've done extensive research on the impact of social media, specifically around a child's development. Do you think that these cases will change the behavior of these social media companies?
Oh, yes, because there's a gigantic hole in our legal system in our society. If there was any other consumer product that was used by 95% of all children, that had contributed to the deaths of thousands of children, that had addicted millions of children, at some point they would have been sued into oblivion or forced to change. And that never happened because of an oddity of an American law passed in 1996. We can't sue them for what the companies show us, but what the new lawsuits are saying is, okay, fine, but we can sue you for the design. You guys made this addictive. We have memos, we have emails, we have internal stuff. We know you did this to hook our kids, to go after preteens. And so take responsibility.
And the tech companies know what they're doing. They know how addictive that their product
exactly.
is. They know.
They know, and we know that in two ways. One is, again, all of these memos where they talk about it. They use the word addiction in their own internal discussions. And the others just look at their behavior. Where do the moguls of Silicon Valley send their kids to school? They often send them to the Waldorf school or other schools, specifically because there's no tech.
Right.
And video game makers, some of them don't let their own kids play video games. They design it for addiction. They want your kids to get addicted. They don't want their kids to get addicted.
So let me just read a statement from Google, the parent company of YouTube, to CBS News. They say, quote, "The allegations are simply not true." And a Meta spokesperson told us the evidence will show the plaintiff faced many significant, difficult challenges well before she ever used social media. This is regarding the plaintiff. And TikTok and Snap have settled out of court.
That's right. So Meta is really the main offender here, in that we have so much evidence against Meta in their own words. And what I find particularly revolting about Meta is their main defense is it's just a correlation. Like, okay, people who use social media a lot are more depressed. That's true, but this didn't cause that. And then they try to use the same strategy on the parents. That is, they try to say, yeah, your daughter spent 16 hours a day, on Instagram, but, that's just correlated with her death. She was actually depressed before.
There's pre-existing things you have to worry about. It's not our fault. It's basically what they're saying. Home, and they might be delighted to hear that because most of the time they hear that it's their fault. Parents, here's what you're not doing. Here's what you should be doing. And I know that you had a previous book to this that was a bestseller, and it was The Anxious Generation. That was for the parents.
Still a bestseller.
Still
on the list, yeah.
And this is for teens and tweens. So what is your message to young people that are watching? Because surprisingly, there are teenagers that get a lot of our content now that we are split across all these social media verticals. So what is your message to them that are dealing with a very addictive form of entertainment?
That's right. So in this book, lots of parents asked me for, like, is there something I can give to my kids? And so I teamed up with Catherine Price, and we wrote this book. And it's not like, old professors saying, kids, get off your phones. A lot of it is, we've got quotes from older teens saying, yes, I lost my childhood. I missed out on childhood.
Got you.
All these kids have seen movies that took place in the 80s and 90s. They know there used to be a thing called childhood where kids were out having fun and adventures. That's been gone for 15, 20 years now. And this book is about getting it back.
So you're saying it's more than just giving up the phone?
That's right. You can't just give up the phone.
You can't just, but what you want us to do is what?
Reclaim childhood in the real world.
I love that.
You say play-based childhood, not a phone-based.
That's right. Humans are mammals. All mammal babies play. We have to play to wire up our brains. That's how you become an adult. And ever since 2012, which is the year when most kids had a smartphone and social media, life has become this. And the brain doesn't wire up right if you spend half your day doing this. And most of our kids spend half of their free time or more of their free time doing this.
One of the things that struck me in the book is when you said this tech is just as damaging as we were warned about tobacco back in the day. They used to do candy cigarettes. We thought it was so cool to do that. You said this is just as damaging as that.
Yeah, so if we're looking at actual death toll, no. Not as many people have committed suicide and drug overdoses from Snapchat drugs as tobacco. But if we look at the number of lives diminished, the number of people whose lives are now worse and will be worse permanently for many of them, that is possibly most children. That is the short form. Now we're learning. In the book, I focused on mental health, and especially girls, and it's not most girls, but it's about a third are harmed by it, roughly. But the short form videos, I now believe, are harming the majority of children born on this planet since the late 1990s.
Yeah, you even say, don't let your kids do short form video.
Yes, that would be absolute advice to parents. You know, look, long stories, long videos, movies are good. I'm not saying no stories, but the short form, I would say 0. No TikTok at all, no Instagram Reels, no YouTube Shorts.
Jonathan Haidt, really important information for parents out there. Thank you very much. The Amazing Generation is on sale right now. Scan that QR code on your screen to buy it.